No female lead, dual male lead, with private settings. It is said that the Mu family's drug doctor is skilled, capable of saving people and killing people. For generations, he has been accompanied by medicinal herbs since childhood, and his body is covered in flesh and blood, which can bring life back to life. They live in seclusion in the mountains and forests, not being friends or enemies with the outside world, but even so, it is difficult to escape greed in people's hearts. The Mu family has suffered countless deaths and injuries due to the exposure of the villain, and according to the villain, the body of the Mu family's eldest son has not been found. After watching Lotus Tower for a long time, I couldn't walk out. Based on the TV drama, I rewrote it. This is my first time writing a novel, just to read it for myself. My writing style is very poor, so don't criticize me. If you mind, please return it. It is written here that Li Xiangyi was 20 years old and during the Battle of the East China Sea, Hanqing was 15 years old. When the Mu family had an accident, it was 2 years after the Battle of the East China Sea. Chapter 1. Bloodbath of the Mu family. You are listening at novelfull.audio. With a clear mind, lotus flowers bloom everywhere. Li Lianhua, the dark colors of the rivers and lakes give rise to the character Mu, while the green moss of the mountains and rivers carries a clear breeze. Mu Hanqing, start of text. The dark clouds in the sky gradually piled up, the leaves drooped low, and the flowers and plants trembled gently. The air began to permeate with the scent of Qianhong, adding a touch of depression to the already cold winter. Young master, it's going to rain soon. You're not feeling well, hurry back to your room and rest, otherwise grandpa and young master will be angry again. A little girl who was about to touch the youth of the cardamom walked over with a thermos. The recliner swayed slightly and made a slight noise. A hand, like a white jade, reached out from the sleeve and took the thermos, placing it on the small table next to it. The small ears moved slightly, listening to the sound of the bamboo forest outside the wall being played by the wind. The boy on the lounge chair slowly opened his eyes. Exposed under long eyelashes, like a gentle lake, the eyes feel calm and peaceful. But now, there is a hint of annoyance in those light blue eyes. Xiangyi, where are father and Feng? Also, has father resolved uncle's matter? His voice is as gentle as a feather, gently brushing over people's hearts, making them feel warm and at ease. But the owner who made the sound seemed uneasy. Scream! A gust of wind interrupted the sound that Xiangyi was about to make. The wind started blowing before the rain even started to fall. The sound from the bamboo forest outside is getting louder and more piercing, making people feel anxious. Xiangyi increased the volume, hoping to make the boy hear more clearly. Young master, the master has gone to solve the problem and hasn't returned yet. I don't know what the wind is outside today, and I haven't returned from the school yet. The wind is getting stronger and stronger, so please go back to your house first. The master and young master will inform you when they come back. Mu Hanqing did not listen to the advice and returned to his room, making him increasingly uneasy. Stand up and walk towards the outer hall. The sky outside was very dark, just as it was in the morning. It was as dark as before, pressing down on people's hair in panic. With a loud bang, a figure quickly approached and collided with Mu Hanqing, who was walking outward. Young master. The person looked up and recognized Mu Hanqing, but at the same time, Mu Hanqing also recognized him. This person is the personal guard of Mu Furong, the father of Mu Hanqing. Young master, hurry up, hide quickly. It's too late, hurry up, come with me. Now this person is covered in blood and injured somewhere. Before he could even stand firm, he pulled Mu Hanqing back without considering etiquette. At first, Xiangyi was a bit panicked following behind, but after seeing the situation in the direction of the guards, she seemed to understand something. She immediately calmed down and exchanged a glance with the guards who turned around before staying in place. After watching Mu Hanqing walk away, she lifted her foot and ran in the opposite direction. Yeah, how many simple things can you stay at the Mu family? The door was forcefully knocked open by several people, and several others flipped in from the wall. In the blink of an eye, the raindrops fell, the sound of sword collision also sounded, and a fight began with the rainstorm. On this side, Hanqing was taken to the innermost room, where there was a raised wall that could accommodate one person. This position was too high, and one could barely see the entire scene of the Mu mansion. "Young master, please listen." Mu Xiangyi was bribed by someone and harmed the master, revealing the location of the Mu mansion to others. The master was seriously injured and may have been harmed in order to cover up for me when I came back to report. Now there are many experts outside, and I'm afraid the young master is also unlucky. It's very hidden here, young master. Please hide here. Watching Mu Hanqing stare incredulously, his warm face turned pale in an instant, whether it had been rained upon or shocked by the bad news. "Young master." The guard shook Mu Hanqing and spoke at a faster pace. "Listen. You must be alive, your body is special and you cannot be caught. Now the Mu family is left with you, and you cannot have any more trouble, even for revenge. Remember, do remember. Do not come out, no matter what you see, do not come out. Let the others disperse and leave through the east side door, where no one knows." Listening to the approaching sound of fighting, he couldn't explain more. Finally, he glanced at Mu Hanqing and turned around and jumped down. Mu Hanqing raised his hand slightly and instinctively raised it as he watched the person walking away. He was stunned for a moment, then clenched his hand into a fist and quickly withdrew. With a slight movement of his eyes, he quickly took off one of his shoes and threw himself towards the position leading to another path, then hid himself in the corner. Listening to the shouting outside, my hands became tighter and tighter. Looking up slightly, one can see the red ground stained by blood rain in front of the distant hall, as well as the corpses above. The rain rushed into his eyes, causing them to turn red, but he still didn't close them. The sudden change in the situation ended the one-sided battle in less than 2/4 of an hour. "Master Mu, can you hear me? Let's hear whose voice this is." The voice of the middle-aged man rang out as the fighting stopped. It was quite far away, and Mu Hanqing's hearing was very blurry, but at this moment, besides the sound of rain falling, there was only this person's voice. "You let go of me." Upon hearing the sound, Mu Hanqing's pupils dilated and he turned his head to see a masked man in black holding a child in the bloodshed. "Wind. Master Mu, have you heard me? I'll give you a stick of incense and advise you to come out quickly. Otherwise, I can't guarantee whether this lovely young master is alive or dead. He's still so young, can you bear it?" Mu Hanqing's nails cut through his palms and sank into the flesh, causing blood to flow out of his fingertips and be washed away by the rain. "Brother, don't listen to bad guys. The wind is not afraid, the wind." Before Mu Hanfeng finished speaking, his mouth was covered. Mu Hanqing felt as if he couldn't feel the pain, his hands became tighter and he began to tremble. "What should I do, Feng heir?" The time for a stick of incense passed in the blink of an eye, and the masked man in black raised his hand to call for an injured subordinate. "Ah!" Mu Hanfeng was stabbed on his wrist by a man in black, and he dripped blood onto his wounds, waiting for another stick of incense. Time had passed, and there was no change in the wounds of his subordinates. The man in black casually threw Mu Hanfeng to the ground, wiped his hands on the hem of his clothes, and glanced at the person on the ground. "It's useless, let's kill it." The subordinate didn't hesitate to stab the sword at Mu Hanfeng's heart. Blood gushed out from Mu Hanfeng's wound and dyed his entire body red. At the moment when the sword was drawn, Mu Hanqing almost rushed out. He restrained himself from making a sound, silently shouting, his anger attacking his heart, and a surge of blood surged in his chest. In order to make no sound, he bit on the other arm. The entire Mu mansion is covered in the damp soil dampened by rain and a strong smell of blood, and there is no longer any smell of winter rain. The tall and green bamboo bent over as if begging for mercy from the rain. The roots of the bamboo were dyed red with blood, and further up, they were occasionally splashed with red beads by the blood rain, which did not wash away even in the heavy rain. Everyone, scatter and find it for me. The man in black issued an order. Those people gradually dispersed, carefully searching for the usual exquisite ornaments that were knocked over, making people wonder what treasure they were looking for. Don't read the following, you can skip the second chapter directly. 1. Say in advance that the author's writing is poor. I enjoy reading novels, but I haven't actually written them. It has been a long time since I saw Lianhua building, but I couldn't resist and tried to write down my imagination. This is my first time writing a novel. I didn't expect any readers, after all, I am still familiar with our garbage writing style, so the main thing is to write and play with it, to have fun, and not to complain if you don't like it. 2. I have also read the Lotus Tower novel written by other authors, and I wrote it according to my own thoughts. I wrote it late, and I'm not sure if there are any similarities with other authors. If you find that my writing is similar to other authors, please let me know and I will make changes. 3. This is a rewritten version of the TV drama Lotus Tower, which will have the same plot as the original. I have added my own Qing plot, which has private settings. If you mind, you can return it. 4. The author is academically heavy and the update time is uncertain, but they will persist in writing this book. Please understand. 5. Focus. This is a double male lead. Double male lead. There may not be many emotional connections, leaning towards double redemption, but this is the story of Qing and Lianhua, with no female lead. If you mind, please withdraw. The name Hanqing and Hanfeng come from the dark colors of the martial arts world, with mountains and rivers covered in green moss and a gentle breeze. The author has a lot of nonsense. The children who can accept the above are welcome. Degree. Chapter 2. Li Lianhua. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. During the process of those people dispersing, Hanqing was very quiet, motionless, and the blood in his eyes was hard to ignore. Following his gaze, there was a small corpse, and no one knew what he was thinking. After the people dispersed, he finally glanced at the corpses and Hanfeng scattered throughout the Mu mansion, released his grip and the blood-stained arm that had been bitten, avoided the people, and slowly found the side door to the east. With the sound of rain, Hanqing gently opened the small door hidden behind the rockery. Bending over and passing through the small door, at the moment he left, he ran wildly. Hurry up, even faster. Hanqing didn't dare to slow down a bit, his already painful chest was suffocating like a rock. The sweet smell in his mouth told him everything that had just happened. In just half an hour, earth-shattering changes occurred. Hanfeng kept running, and even lost his only shoe. Due to his poor health, he was pampered with delicate ankles, and his toes were like delicate pearls. But now, those ankles are stained with mud and scratches from stone branches, which have brought shortcomings to these feet. He doesn't have time to deal with the pain in his feet, and now he can't feel the pain from the outside world. He dare not slack off, he must live. I don't know how long I've been running, I don't know where I'm going. All he knows is that he's hiding from everyone, and no one can believe him. On this side, the Mu mansion was rummaged through, and at the end, a subordinate discovered the small door. They began to spread their search outwards from that small door again. The rain was very long this time, and in the end, it stopped and slowly drifted down with a little snow, gently covering the earth with a thin layer of winter clothes, covering everything up. The night is also very long. After a long time, the sun rose, casting a soft glow over all things, and the thin snow melted as if everything was starting to look like before. The green trees, moistened by rainwater, become even more lush and lush. Flowers and plants also appear particularly enchanting after the rain. Crystal dewdrops jump on the petals, as if sparkling with sparks of life. It can be said that the grass and trees are lush, full of greenery, and full of vitality. What about the current Mu mansion? Oh, no, where did the Mu mansion come from? There has never been a Mu mansion, it's just a rumor passed down by people's mouths and cannot be taken seriously. After the rain, it will clear up, and after the dream, you also need to know that you will wake up. A terrifying treasure hunt event was held with a grand and resounding roar, but it quietly came to an end. Underscore 6 years later, Fox Spirit, what are you doing? It's time for dinner. A young man dressed in green clothes without any decorations on his head. Roll up half of the hair, the other half is loose. He greeted a yellow dog. The young man was dressed in simple old clothes, but he didn't look unattractive on his muscular body. He was unique and elegant. Wang. Wang. The yellow dog ignored the young man and turned its head and ran towards the forest. Hey. Li Lianhua put down the dishes. Fox Spirit, won't you eat it? Although asked like this, the young man did not chase after him. Based on the principle of letting the dog go for a run, he didn't call the dog back. After playing enough, he just knew he would come back. But a quarter of an hour has passed, and the youth's meal has been finished. The bowl given to the Fox Spirit should have cooled completely, but the Fox Spirit has not returned. Thinking of finishing his meal and dissipating his appetite, he also followed the direction of the Fox Spirit running towards him. It takes a cup of tea to leave before you see someone, right? No, people. Yes, it's people. The Fox Spirit occasionally barked twice in front of the person, who leaned against the tree without moving. From a distance, the person was dressed in white and wore a veil of the same color, like a curtain worn by a woman. The elbow joint at the junction of the forearm and forearm is shorter in the front, and longer in the back, passing over the buttocks. The cover of the white veil made it difficult to see the person's face clearly, but a vague feeling made one feel that the person was not bad-looking, had a beautiful figure, and was somewhat slim. Approaching, I found that there were other colors on this person's body, on their hair. There is nothing on the head, and the hair is not tied up. But there was a two-fingered thick red silk loosely tied in the middle and upper part of the waist-length hair. I didn't hear this person speak, and I couldn't see his face. It's really difficult to tell from his appearance whether he's a girl or not, as the cover is a bit tight. Even if it's a girl, Li Lianhua wouldn't dare to step forward rashly. You're a Fox Spirit, you're always causing trouble for me if you don't eat. Looking at the Fox Spirits who are not leaving, Li Lianhua sighs roast. But roast belongs to roast, and it's not good to ignore it now. Sigh. After careful consideration of her wording, Li Lianhua spoke up. Hello, have you encountered any trouble? I saw the person move slightly and straighten up. Hanqing didn't expect that when he came here to find a herb, he actually fell ill. I didn't plan to stay out for too long and thought of returning to the inn later, so I didn't get any medicine. Now he can only lean against the tree to slow down. Then something even more unexpected happened to him. A dog didn't know where it came from and didn't leave, right next to it. Afterwards, this person came again. Looking at the person wearing green clothes, even through the white veil, one cannot see his face clearly. In the past 6 years, he has had very few conversations with people and rarely shown his appearance. He cannot have a fixed residence and can only change hotels from time to time. Every day, while preventing enemies from discovering, take more medicine to make life-saving pills and practice some martial arts. It's ridiculous that he doesn't even know who his enemies are. Even his so-called uncle, Mu Xiahai, is difficult to find. His thoughts came to this, and he looked up to see the expression of the person in front of him clearly. Thank you very much for your concern, young master. It's just that your old illness has broken out and it's okay. His voice was warm and gentle, like a gentle spring breeze, but mixed with a hint of imperceptible coldness. Okay, now I know. It's a man, so it's easier to handle. No problem, I'm Li Lianhua. My residence is right in front of me. If you don't mind, you can go have a cup of tea and take a break. Mu Hanqing originally wanted to refuse, but the onset of this illness was really uncomfortable. In this wilderness, I don't know who and where my enemy is. Looking at the person in front of him, his medical skills can feel the powerlessness of his dantian just by listening to his breath, which is safer compared to this unknown dangerous wilderness. This dog should also be his, there's nothing he can do, he can only walk and watch. Slightly bend down. Thank you very much, young Master Li. Back in the day, my mother admired her character and suffered physical damage. Both my father and mother's medical skills believed that she would not survive for 6 months. He also loved medical skills since childhood, so at the age of 7, he began to nourish himself with medicine and test his body with medicine. He forced his mother to live a few more years without pain or disaster, but for some unknown reason, she still died when he was 15 years old. He believes that his medical skills are not proficient and he cannot accept it. Later on, he put in a lot of effort on his own body, and even more so, he left behind a whole body of problems. Especially with this decay, it's mild, weak all over, headache, and suffocation. Heavy, the heart gnaws like ants, and the bones break and reassemble repeatedly. Twice every 3 days. Chapter 3. Wind and Fire Hall. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Previously, there were medicinal nourishments in the Mu family, and so many people were pampered and pampered. Even if it happens, it's just weakness and a headache. Now there is nothing but oneself. It still feels a bit bitter when it comes to seizures. Fortunately, I just took some medicine yesterday and it wasn't particularly painful when I had a seizure, so I can still tolerate it. Following Li Lianhua, even if she didn't walk fast, she soon arrived at the place. Mu Hanqing looked at the house in front with some shock. Oh, why didn't he think of it? Mu Hanqing thought truthfully. Li Lianhua invited someone to sit down at the table and poured a cup of tea for them. I don't know the name of the young master. The hospitality was not well received, please forgive me. Mu Hanqing took the cup with both hands. The mountains and rivers are covered with green moss and the wind is clear. My surname is Han and my name is Qing. I am grateful that Prince Li can give me a place to rest. Thank you very much. Put your hand into the gauze and slightly tilt your head to drink hot tea. The feeling of suffocation in my chest is finally better, and I feel even more uncomfortable than bone pain. Sigh, it's still a bit too harsh. Feeling Mu Hanqing swaying slightly to explore her surroundings, Li Lianhua raised her eyebrows calmly. I don't think he needs to conceal anything about his current identity. I am Li Lianhua, and this building is called Lianhua Tower. It is not talented and has little military power. It is like a wandering doctor. It may have a small name in the martial arts world, so it is called the Li Divine Doctor. Mu Hanqing couldn't help but hear the implied meaning. It's impossible for someone to reveal their identity just to make friends. It should be telling oneself that his identity is clear and there is no danger involved. Similarly, when knocking on oneself, it's one's turn to say one's identity. The eyes behind the white veil lifted slightly, looking at the other person through the thin gauze. Coincidentally, compared to me, I may be even less talented and have some superficial medical skills. However, my health is even worse and I don't take much action to treat people's illnesses. Li Lianhua smiled and didn't speak, just adding some tea for the other party. Mu Hanqing restrained his expression. Don't ask anything else. Is it really unnecessary to ask, or do you know you can't ask after waiting for nearly a quarter of an hour? Mu Hanqing had already recovered and stood up to tidy up his veil and hem. Master Han, are you leaving now? Do you need me to send you off? The words were like this, but no one stood up. No trouble, Han's residence is not too far either. Thank you very much for Li Gongzi's tea. Still speaking in a calm and gentle tone, it only makes one feel that this person is very humble and polite, and there is nothing wrong with him. Li Lianhua put down the teacup she used to warm her hands, and only then did she take a look when Hanqing walked out of the building. There is a red silk thread behind the long black hair, even if it is covered by white gauze, it is exceptionally obvious. The figure looked slender and delicate, which perfectly matched the person's voice. It's not surprising that he didn't dare to call people rashly before, as his concealed appearance really cannot confirm his gender. Underscore 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 underscore. When Hanqing returned to the inn, he did not take off his veil. He just picked up some of the white veil at his elbow and placed it on the brim of his hat. Now, he needs to be more careful. Her fair chin was exposed, delicate and smooth, and her lips were as smooth as jade, moist as pearls, with a light red color. In this way, others still cannot fully see his appearance, and he can also recognize things more clearly. Take out the small medicine stove and skillfully take out a few herbs from the medicine bag and put them in. The medicine stove is smaller, but it burns faster. Control the heat well and it will take about 3/4 of an hour. Sitting on the bed, looking back on these years. 6 years ago, there were 30.2 people in the Mu family. From flower armor to preschool, no one was spared. Feng died in front of him, but he cowardly hid in a corner. Mu Hanfeng is only 10 years old, he is only 10 years old. Brother. Why are you blowing in this wind again? It's nothing. Humph, if I see it again tomorrow, I'll get angry, the kind that can't be coaxed. You little devil. Brother A is weak, and you are young. You have never been to anything except home and school. Tomorrow, Brother A will discuss with his father to take Feng Er out for a trip. How about giving Feng Er a gift for his 11th birthday in advance really? Okay, my thoughts came to this, and a tear fell silently from my chin, dripping into my palm. But tomorrow hasn't arrived, and his 11 years old hasn't arrived either. Watching it with my own eyes, but there is nothing I can do, even collecting the corpse is a delusion. He sometimes hates himself for being alive, but also feels grateful that he is still alive. The most difficult years have passed. In the past few years, my own psychology, the pursuit of enemies, the arrangement of food and accommodation, and the rest of my body. All of these need to be taken into account. Everyone in the Mu family knows some martial arts. He used to be weak, and even if he didn't practice much, he had learned them. After years of hard training, it should still be possible to temporarily protect oneself. He must take the initiative to investigate what happened back then. Muxiahai, no matter where you are, I will find you. Underscore 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 2 years later. Sitting still, crossing over again, Bingtanghulu, on the street, a dazzling array of goods are placed on various stalls, with people coming and going. From time to time, there were several shouts of Bingtanghulu. A plate of side dishes and a pot of hot tea, thank you. Mu Hanqing placed the silver on the table. The waiter glanced at him twice and wondered why he was covering up so much. But he didn't say anything. In the martial arts world, no matter what, don't ask for trouble. He still knows this truth. Thinking like this, quickly put on a smile on your face and shake a cloth. Okay, sir. Please take a seat and I will serve you the dishes immediately. Mu Hanqing waved his hand, then lifted the curtain fence and began to secretly look around. After circling around, nothing special was seen, except for a young man dressed in light blue clothes who was more prominent, and it seemed that his maid was next to him. Be honest, let me in. Bang, ouch! A scolding shattered the tranquility of the inn. A group of people, with hammers in their hands, pushed forward a man in white. Just as there was a commotion, Mu Hanqing stroked his Yunqin sword with his hand. This sword was acquired by him in earlier years, but it took him a lot of effort. Dare to play with me. When practicing medicine, if you want to use divination to inquire about the heavens, you still want that dog to come and pick it up day by day. You're just entertaining us. The leader exclaimed angrily with a sigh. Li Lianhua lay on the table and looked around, only to see the sign on the blue-clad boy in front of her. Those people were about to take action, and Li Lianhua slapped the table and threw it at the young man's table. That young man didn't say a word and directly offered to help. In no time, the group of people were beaten back. The leader covered his chest and said, "Stinky kid, why are you from? You dare to meddle in the affairs of the Wind and Fire Hall. What kind of person am I?" The young man lifted the hem of his clothes and patted the sign at his waist, looking up proudly. "By Chuan, Yuan. Misunderstandings are all misunderstandings," the other person apologized. Li Lianhua rubbed her waist and pointed at the group with a resentful expression on her face. "Little brother, are you a criminal detective?" Chapter 4. Fang Duobing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. So you came just right, they. I couldn't bear to say, but quickly replied, "They killed someone." What? Speak quickly, what's going on? The young man looked anxious. We are all killing the right people, but we shouldn't die at this moment, the leader quickly defended, and his subordinates followed suit. You say, die for a few moments, die for a few moments. The Yanwang Palace is owned by your family. Li Lianhua pointed at the other person with a resentful expression on her face and quickly withdrew. What are you doing? Hey, look, you're still staring at me. Shrinked and reported to the young man. Hanqing sat not very close, picked up the tea he had not taken a few sips of, and tasted it. Upon hearing this, I raised my eyebrows unexpectedly. The window next to it opened slightly, and a little bird flew in with the light wind, heading straight towards Hanqing. This little bird is snow-white all over, with only a hint of light blue on its tail. Hanqing reached out to take the bird. This is Zugue, he raised it with blood. Many people cannot recognize the foot-returning bird, and this bird is extremely rare and delicate. Even if it is encountered, it is difficult to keep in captivity. The foot-returning bird lay in his hand, small and perfectly nestled in the palm of his hand. You bird, you should eat less, right? Hanqing shook his hand and smiled. After seeing something inside the bird's paw, his expression darkened and he put away his smile. The foot-returning bird, as its name suggests, has a very sensitive sense of smell. Give it an object for a while before taking it away. It will search for the same scent, and after finding it, it will grab something near that scent before returning to its owner. Under the cover of white gauze, he handed the bird to his eyes, squinted his eyes, and carefully examined what was inside his paws. Red mud. A few days ago, he secretly returned to the Mu family. The Mu family is no longer the same as before, and he did not rashly enter. He looked around and found a small piece of tattered black cloth. I think it was also left by those people unintentionally. With this in mind, take out the handkerchief and carefully pluck the red mud from the bird's paw to put away. But where would there be red mud? The foot-returning bird has been away for some time, indicating that the place is a bit far away. The footed bird in its hand moved dishonestly, wanting to spread its wings. My thoughts were interrupted, so I quickly closed my hands. The object has been found, why do you still need to leave? Unless there is something with the same odor here. Organize the headdress and observe the surroundings. There is nothing strange except for the prominent and the group of people who just came in. So. Who could it be? Alright, take me to see the body. The boy over there has already inquired. Quickly come up with a solution, place the foot bird on its shoulder, stand up with a sword, and walk towards the young man. Wait a minute. The young man stood still and looked at the person walking in front of him. Excuse me, may I have the privilege of knowing the name of the young hero? Upon hearing Young Xia, the young man looked up happily. I'm sick below. Is there anything important, young master? No problem, I just have some admiration for Detective Qing, and I happen to meet a young hero. I don't think there's anything wrong. I wonder if we can go together and see him around. Detective Qing, young hero, admire. With a bright smile on his face, he said, "Of course, let's go." He took the lead and walked out the door with his sword. He sees the other person as gentle and polite, unlike a bad person. It's not because people admire him. Hanqing turned around and took the white cloth bag, following along with him. After approaching the main force, he pretended to unintentionally approach Li Lianhua. Li Lianhua glanced at him but didn't say anything. Hanqing turned his head to look at his shoulder, and there was no movement in the bird's footsteps. It's not him. If the two of them are not, then they are another group. The leader is not like. There should be some names that can attract people's attention, but those who lack intelligence should not be those people. Who will be the rest, or should we take another look? Hanqing thought, but did not pay attention to the outside world. I'm not sure when it will arrive. When I turned around, I heard Fang Duobing's statement. If this brother can come back to life, I'll take his surname. He also had a confident expression on his face. Rebirth from the dead. Raise your hand and lift the white veil in front of you to look at the corpse inside the coffin, and take a few more glances at the corpse in your hand. TSK, I had quite a lot of fun. Li Duobing. It sounds better if Fang Duobing is sick now. There are not many people like this who are simple and straightforward, and Hanqing looked pleased. On the other side. So the expenses are all on me, and this. I don't know the young master's surname, young master. Ah, I'm sorry to inform you. Master Han and brotherly, getting to know each other is fate. Why don't we sit down together? Since young Xia Fang has already proposed it, Han will naturally not shirk it. When Li Lianhua heard Hanqing's name, she instinctively looked at Hanqing. Interestingly, it's still the same person I've seen before. Now, I'm getting old and have a bad memory. I almost didn't remember inside the house. Thank you very much, young Xia Fang. Harmful, brotherly doesn't need to be polite. Why doesn't young Master Han take off his veil? Isn't it more convenient to drink tea like this? I don't know, but when I was young, I was weak and didn't like to go out. I was a bit introverted, and now I feel uncomfortable showing my face to everyone. I decided to cover it up directly. I hope you can forgive me. What's here? Drink tea. Upon hearing this, Li Lianhua paused her hand on the edge of the cup. If you're introverted and take the initiative to follow, it's easier for this kid to fool around. Young Xia Fang, you must have just entered the Baichuan courtyard, right? Li Lianhua asked while fiddling with the teapot. That's right, I have sworn since I was young that when I grow up, I will definitely join Baichuan Academy, rely on my own abilities, revitalize Sigu Gate, and hope for the future. Fang Duobing's fingers met, looking forward and fantasizing about the future. I didn't see the action of Li Lianhua's subordinates taking medicine. Good ambition, I like such a passionate young man. It seems that we really hit it off. Come on, respect you all. Fang Duobing picked up the tea that Li Lianhua had just filled for him with a happy expression on his face. Here, cheers. Hanqing took the cup into the white veil and brought it to his mouth before stopping. Wearing a veil, I didn't notice Li Lianhua's movements just now, but the handsome young master of the Mu family couldn't even recognize this small potion. After a while, Fang Duobing couldn't sit still and propped up the table. Hanqing thought for a moment whether he wanted to follow suit and pretend to be unconscious. Worried about causing trouble and afraid of delaying him in finding someone, after thinking for a while, she didn't know what Li Lianhua was going to do, but still didn't pretend to faint. Over there, Li Lianhua glanced at Hanqing and, unsurprisingly, hugged her arm and scolded Fang Duobing, who couldn't get up. I haven't met a criminal detective in all these years, and I didn't expect that the first criminal detective I met would be you, such a jerk. The 100 Rivers Court is really getting worse every year. Not knowing the purpose of Li Lianhua, just in case, Hanqing calmly held the poison he had made in his hand. Fang Duobing didn't persist for long and suddenly collapsed on the table. Are you still planning to stay here, Master Han? Li Lianhua walked to the door and asked Hanqing. I don't know the purpose of this person, but I can't let these two people stay together. One of them even makes me dizzy. I really want to save the one outside, but I don't want to harm the one inside either. Chapter 5. Mo Qianhong. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hanqing didn't pay attention to his implied meaning and stood up at the door. My goal is not with you, I hope we don't disturb each other. He said, turning his head and leaving first. Li Lianhua finally glanced inside the room, walked out, closed the door, and left. Backyard Inn. Damn it, what's wrong with me? I haven't done anything good myself and I'm relying on it. You haven't arranged a place for me yet, so powerful. You have the ability to go find that person from Baichuan Academy and get angry at him. A man inside the room smashed things and cursed. Hanqing followed Zuginio to the window of this house, punctured a bamboo tube through the window paper, and blew the unknown gas inside into the room. The person who had been kicking and smashing around as if he couldn't finish it, soon lay on the ground, feeling weak all over. The door was pushed open and quickly closed. Hanqing walked in and crouched down in front of the man. Did you go to the Mu family 8 years ago? The voice was still warm and gentle, but it made people feel cold. The people on the ground were forcefully moving around, trying to stand up. Who are you? Do you know who I am? Tired of living? If you want to die. The words were stuck in the mouth with a dagger pressed against the neck. You shout, do you know why you are feeling weak all over now? The harder you use this medicine, the faster it will attack. Forcefully resisting it will only make life worse than death. The hand placed on the knife pressed down, causing blood to overflow from the neck in an instant, and the words became even colder. I'll ask you one last time, did you go to the Mu family 8 years ago? If you don't say it again, I'll make it impossible for you to say. Don't. Don't. I said, I did go to the Mu family once 8 years ago, but I didn't go in. I just took a glance and really didn't know anything. Please spare my life, young hero. The man trembled all over, not a trace of the stiffness he had just shown. Name, identity, the person behind it, why did you go to the Mu family? Tell me everything you know, don't try to deceive me, otherwise I will discover that your medicine can kill you at any time. My name is Hongjia, I was just assigned to work under Mu Xiaohai's command. Mu Xiaohai insisted on me following the Mu family's activities that time, and I don't know anything else. Who arranged for you to work under Mu Xiaohai? This. Speak up. Mo Qianhong, it's Mo Qianhong. I was originally working under him. Upon hearing this name, Hanqing was stunned. Mo Qianhong. How could there be an uncle's matter? Mo Wanqi, his mother, the daughter of the Mo family. At that time, the Mo family knew that their mother wanted to be with their father, and they also knew the danger of the Mu family. After the argument, for the safety of the family in the future, I decisively cut off contact with Mo Wanqi. Since then, Mo Wanqi and the Mo family have never had any communication. However, Mo Wanqi's younger brother, also known as Mo Qianhong. I didn't come when Mo Wanqi got married, but 2 years after she gave birth to Hanqing, I found Mo Wanqi. Previously at the Mo family, Mo Wanqi had a great affection for this younger brother. He also said that he secretly found it without telling the Mo family. Originally, Mo Wanqi was wondering why it had been almost 3 years before she came to find her. But when I saw that Mo Qianhong did nothing and only occasionally brought gifts to stay for half a day, chatting with Mo Wanqi and Hanqing, I didn't say anything. So, they persisted for 13 years in a row. Until Hanqing was 15 years old, a major event occurred in the martial arts world, which was the battle between Li Xiangyi, the world's #1, and defacing in the East China Sea. Since then, Mo Qianhong has never come again. 2 years later, the Mu family died. What does this matter have to do with Mo Qianhong? Does he know Mu Shihai's thoughts? What is the purpose of arranging one's own people to Mu Shihai? The most important thing is to lead the way into the Mu family and know who the black-clothed man is. Mu Hanqing felt that the more he knew, the more mysteries he had. Lift the dagger upwards, forcing Hongjie to lift his head. Who is the man in black who went to the Mu family? I'm just a subordinate, I was suddenly stuffed in, I don't know. But I accidentally saw a scar on his back neck, it's obvious, like. Yes, like he was scalded. Feeling the movements of Mu Hanqing's subordinates intensifying, he didn't have time to think much and quickly spoke out what he knew. Scar on the back of the neck. Mu Hanqing relaxed the dagger a bit. Why are you in the wind and fire hall now? Where are Mu Shihai and Mo Qianhong? 8 years ago, after that incident, those people, including Mo Qianhong, disappeared without a trace. I really don't know where they are. I also want to eat, right? I joined the Wind and Fire Hall 2 years ago. Seeing that there was nothing more to ask, Mu Hanqing stood up. Today's events must not be disclosed. Yes, yes, the little one must have swallowed it. Look at this antidote. Mu Hanqing, who walked to the door, threw a pill at him and left. I didn't poison him at first, but it will take me a while to recover, but the antidote I just gave him is the real poison. It can make people lose consciousness, like a fool, and they can't find any problems. He can't afford to gamble, we need to ensure everything is safe and sound. Quick, fast, don't sleep, the body is missing. Where's the one from Baichuan Courtyard? Go find him. Mu Hanqing looked at the lit torch in front of him, stopped walking towards the front door, and decisively left through the back door. It seems that in order to find Mo Qianhong, we need to start from the Jin-Yuan alliance. During his childhood, Mo Qianhong said he made some good friends at the Golden Mandarin Alliance, and it was very spectacular there. A few friends decided to gather together and take care of their families, so he kept saying for several days that he wanted Mo Wanqi to go with Mu Hanqing. The Mu family has their own opinions on good and evil, and although they do not dislike the Jin-Yuan alliance, they also do not understand it. Moreover, the Mu family has stipulated that he is not allowed to go out and show off unless necessary, let alone that he and his mother are not in good health. Mo Qianhong had been playing around for a few days, but his mother didn't agree. His mother was not familiar with his friends, so there was no need to join in the fun. So, if you want to find Mo Qianhong, you can try to find clues from the Jin-Yuan alliance. Jin-Yuan Meng ________________________ Jiazhou, Lingshan sect. No, you guys, ouch, be gentle. Just as he arrived at the Lingshan sect, Mu Hanqing heard such a familiar voice. Looking up, I saw that Li Lianhua was thrown out by several people. Li Lianhua, who was thrown out, tidied up her sleeves and said calmly, "Why are you so rude? Although your leader has died, he must repay the 5 taels of silver he owed me. As his disciple, please repay it for him." The person across from him ignored him at all. "If you don't leave, then I won't be polite," he said as he was about to come down. "Hey! Don't come down, I'll go." Li Lianhua, who didn't want to argue with him, quickly stopped him and turned around to see Mu Hanqing standing next to him. Reflecting on why his luck was so bad, Mu Hanqing, who had met this person several times, also noticed that the other party had noticed him. Chapter 6. Jin-Yuan Meng Xan Lei. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A little embarrassed, I pulled the white veil in front of me. Wearing a veil, I didn't see anything clearly, which caused Li Gongzi to ask for debt. "I'm sorry, Gongzi, keep going. I'll leave first." Seeing Li Lianhua like this, "I'm sure we can't get in here. Let's find another way." Turning around, he saw Fang Duobing smiling brightly and greeting him. What a coincidence, Dr. Li, Master Han. I thought it would take me a long time to see you, but I didn't expect us to meet again so soon. Li Lianhua behind Hanqing also saw Fang Duobing, pursing her lips and smiling. It's quite a coincidence, young Xia Fang and young Master Han. Let's talk first. I have something else to attend to, so I'll leave first. But how could Fang Duobing let him go? He walked quickly, pressed him against a tree, and grabbed his wrist. The interior is void, and the elixir field is powerless. I really don't know martial arts. I'm still in poor health and can't withstand torture. But you have caused my young master to lose face. Don't worry, our side is very sick and won't take action against people without martial arts. But you, seeing that you hold a sword, you must know martial arts. Tell me why you joined forces with him to deceive me. Alright, after asking Li Lianhua, she started asking another one. Hanqing didn't want to say anything anymore and once again marveled at his luck. Now it's good to have another crime. Young Xia Fang, don't make random guesses. I do have some martial arts skills. But what Li Lianhua did has nothing to do with me. That day, I only recognized the overpowering drug in the tea. Shaking his head slightly, he said helplessly, trying to save himself. But Fang Duobing seems to be a bit smarter than last time. Humph, you guys should go to Baichuan Academy and say these things. Let's skip this Baichuan courtyard. Actually, this is. Li Lianhua began to think about how to continue to deceive. Guishi Gong, right. I feel a little proud. Humph, this young master never believed in resurrection. After thinking about it for a while, he only had this Guishi Gong. Is resurrection possible? Hanqing doesn't want to get involved in their affairs, his mind is not enough on his own. It seems that their goal is probably the Lingshan sect, and no matter how clever Fang Duobing is, he is still far behind Li Lianhua. A person's mind can be seen to some extent from their eyes. Let Li Lianhua suddenly. No, explain for a while. It would be easier for him to join the Lingshan sect later. With this in mind, I looked at the stone next to me and walked over to sit down. Alright, I can continue practicing. Li Lianhua did not disappoint Hanqing's expectations, took some time, but also advised Fang Duobing. I will investigate the case, young master. It's not up to you, a cunning and deceitful fake doctor, to come and help. And you, Hanqing, come with us until the matter is clear. We can't run away. Upon hearing that it was over there, Hanqing stood up and didn't need to find any reason. Fang Duobing called him along. Arrive at the door. A woman came down the stairs holding a child, and Li Lianhua glanced at the mother and son. As he passed by Hanqing, he smelled a special aroma of incense burners from the mother and son. Without much thought, the three of them entered the Lingshan sect. Young master, you're here. Lear, where is Wangfu? Just tested some conditions and screened out some people. Apart from Wangfu, there are still 5 people. Let's take a look. A few people arrived at the front hall together, where many people had already gathered. Please go up and knock the rain chime with your hands, kowtow, and request clarification. Li Lianhua raised her eyebrows to suggest that Fang Duo was ill. If only recognized spiritual children have benefits, what about the others? Fang Duobing clearly thought of something and secretly thought of danger. He quickly went up to stop it and said, stop it quickly. But the spirit children had already sounded the jade bell, and in an instant, the flames shone out, and several spirit children were instantly engulfed by the fire. Quick, save someone. Fortunately, there was a water tank not far away, and in no time, the fire on the spirit child's body was extinguished. Several spirit children stood on the side, all disheveled. The person from the Lingshan sect pointed at Wangfu and said, only this little brother is not injured. Is it possible that he is the spiritual child selected by Wang Daochang's manifestation? The remaining people also looked at each other. Fang Duobing stepped forward and said, "This is not a manifestation at all, it's human-made." He took the object from Lear's hand and said, "This is the flint found in the jade bell, connected to the cotton under the cattail, which ignited the fire. This is clearly a mechanism that someone had prepared in advance." Li Lianhua walked up to the Ling Tong and raised her hand to touch the other person's shoulder, looking at the powdered object appearing on her hand. "This is phosphorus powder, it's easy to catch. Why not check who came into contact with these children? The Ling Shan sect is no longer willing. The Ling Shan sect cannot be left without a leader for a day. It must continue and not waste time." Mu Hanqing watched the play for a while and muttered softly. "The rules set by Taoist Wang, just ask him." The voice was not loud, but he knew that Li Lianhua must have heard it. Li Lianhua did indeed hear it, and unexpectedly, Mu Hanqing would help. Looking at the commotion ahead, I walked over to Fang Duobing's side. "Don't worry, everyone. I'm Li Lianhua, who is not talented and has some reputation as a divine doctor. As for me, I have a point to pay attention to. After listening for a while, it's just that Wang Daochang didn't have a clear method to test the spirit child. Why don't we go down and have a chat with the leader to figure it out?" Originally, it was the renowned physician Li Lianhua who brought people back to life. I dare not take it for granted. I know a little about the art of resurrection. If you believe me, let me give it a try. As Dr. Li, I naturally believe it. Please send the sect leader's golden body to his room before his death. I also need the sect leader's personal belongings to perform my resurrection technique. Mu Hanqing shook hands. This Li Lianhua is quite clever. The three of them followed Xiao Si to the room where the master had passed away. Then, with the blessing of Fang Duobing, Mu Hanqing learned the secret to Li Lianhua's ability to resurrect from death. Laughingly shaking his head, he entered the room first. As soon as he entered, Mu Hanqing smelled a familiar smell and ignored the two people who followed in and started gambling again, walking to the table. The two over there began to investigate, and he was wondering where the familiar smell came from. 5 poison palm. Li Lianhua stretched her head and glanced at it. You recognize it. This 5 poison palm is the famous skill of Qianhong, the Thunder Runner of the Golden Mandarin League. 10 years ago, the Golden Mandarin League was destroyed, and most of them were caught by the Baichuan Academy. Unexpectedly, there were also fish that had escaped the net. They have been hiding here for so many years. Upon hearing the Golden Mandarin Alliance, Mu Hanqing moved his ears. Xinlei. Hands plucked the burnt incense ash from the incense burner on the table, and raised their hands to smell their fingers. He remembered where he had smelled the smell before. Li Lianhua and Fang Duobing also noticed his movements. Hanqing, have you found anything? Fang Duobing walked up and sniffed along. I have a sharper nose. The fragrance that has been burned in this room is the same as the scent on the mother and daughter we encountered outside the door. Li Lianhua also walked over, holding a 3-character scripture in her hand. Oh. That's interesting. Let's go and take a look at the place where the leader ascended to immortality. Chapter 7. Identity Disclosure. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Mu Hanqing wiped off the ashes from his hand and politely refused, I'm not interested in investigating, so I won't go. You go first, I'll wait for you here. Li Lianhua and Fang Duobing did not insist and went to the place where the leader ascended to immortality. Mu Hanqing wandered around on his own, searching for clues about Qianhong. After a while, Mu Hanqing looked at the fan in his hand, his face speechless. I haven't found any clues and have been pulled over as a tool. I don't know how this person came up with a solution. Sigh, there's nothing he can do. He shook the fan and honestly became his manual mist maker. The casting will end soon, it's just waiting for tomorrow. The next day, Hanqing watched as the two of them sang and reconciled, sorting out the process for each other. Hanqing only cares about the Jin Yuan Meng Xin Lei who was caught by Li Lianhua. The situation was exposed, and Xin Lei fought with the Lingshan sect. Despite being surrounded by a few people, he did not fall behind. With so much to say, I'll send you to meet the King of Hell. Gather a palm and strike at Li Lianhua. Hanqing, who was beside Li Lianhua, reached out and gave him a hand. The person involved unexpectedly glanced at his hand holding onto his sleeve and calmly called for help from the other side. Fang Duobing. Fang Duobing blocked Xin Lei's blow with his sword and drew out his sword to fight against him. As early as when Fang Duobing took action, Hanqing pulled Li Lianhua back and released her hand. This person has no martial arts skills and doesn't know how to avoid it. Li Lianhua glanced at the sleeve that Hanqing had grabbed, then lifted her head, clasped her fists, and smiled. Thank you very much. Xin Lei over there is not a match for Fang Duobing, he was defeated by Fang Duobing in just a few moves. After Xin Lei was suppressed and detained, Hanqing found a reason to escape. Li Lianhua looked in the direction he was leaving and also said to Fang Duobing, "What's that? You don't need to thank me. I have something left in the master's room, I'll go and pick it up first." After finishing speaking, he turned around and left, ignoring Fang Duobing's complaining hair. Who wants to thank you? It's impolite. I don't know where all these things came from, 1 or 2. Backyard, lock Xinlei's room. The door was opened, and Xinlei squinted under the sunlight shining in. Looking at the man in white who didn't say much, I wondered what he was doing. Jin Yuanmeng's Thunder Runner, Xin Lei, right. Let me ask you, do you know Mo Qianhong? Who are you? Why should I tell you? Let me think, oh. By the way, the only thing related to that Mo Qianhong is the Mu family that everyone desires. Hanqing's face darkened and he stared coldly at him. It seems he does know, but his mouth is a bit hard. Taking out the pill from his sleeve, he was about to take action when he heard footsteps coming from outside the door. Following the sound, Li Lianhua pushed the door and entered. Seeing Hanqing inside the room, both of them were stunned. Xin Lei looked up at the two with disdain. I can't believe that this place is quite lively and has attracted 2 great Buddhas. Wait a moment, the other one won't come too, right? Li Lianhua was surprised and expected to see Hanqing here before him. But now, it should be impossible for him to go out, it's still important. I don't know if it's lively or not, but the taste of the 188th prison in Baichuan Courtyard is not good. What are you doing here again? Just put it bluntly. This is not as good as the one you came before. Li Lianhua looked at Hanqing and took a step forward, standing in front of Xin Lei. Due to location reasons, they are now standing side by side like the one on one side. 10 years ago, the 3 kings of the Golden Mandarin Alliance killed Dan Gudao from Sigu Gate and even robbed his bones. You used to work under the command of Medicine Demon, so you should know where the bones are. How do you know that I have worked under the Medicine Demon, and who are you? Li Lianhua took a step closer and said, Don't ask me who I am, just tell me what I want to know. Xin Lei tilted his head to look at the other person carefully, and finally his gaze fell on Li Lianhua's ear. There are 3 holes under your ear, and at least you have worked under the Medicine Demon for some time. This is a mark of the poison of Zhongbi tea. The poison of Zhongbi tea is unparalleled in the world, and the one in it will inevitably live or die within a month. Unless you have a strong internal power to force it out, you are still fine. Unless you're that person. Li Xiangyi. Li Lianhua lowered her gaze and stared coldly at the bound person. Xinlei felt as if he had broken a jar and was not afraid at all. The once invincible sword god, it turns out that he has lost all his martial arts skills. I didn't expect your impressive Li Xiangyi to end up like this. You are quite concerned about your senior brother, but unfortunately I don't know where his body is. Besides, why did you end up in this situation just to search for his body? If you found it, it was just a body. Why don't you let the person next to you help? Ha ha ha. Hanqing, who was still shocked that Li Lianhua was Li Xiangyi, clenched his fists and walked forward upon hearing this. What do you know? Speak up. Are you in a hurry? It's either enemies or friends who want to find Qianhong, but now maybe he's just with those friends. There's only enemies, but I heard those people will always stay in his own home, and you can only be the so-called Big Prince back then. Unexpectedly, Qianlei looked up and down at Hanqing. Tsk, how did you convince yourself to survive by being so secretive? Hanqing tightened his hand, as if some of the past were vividly remembered. It seems that nothing can be said from him, and those who know more don't need to live. Hanqing took out a poison pill and quickly stuffed it into his mouth. And Xinlei had already broken free from the chains and rushed towards Li Lianhua, grabbing her neck when he made a move. Don't come over. Otherwise, I'll kill him. Hanqing pulled out his Yunqian sword and was about to take a step back when he saw a figure outside the door. You're looking for a dead end. As she spoke, she teamed up with the person outside and stabbed him in the shoulder. Li Lianhua quickly withdrew. Raise your hand, wave your sword, and seal your throat with one sword. Fang Duobing walked in and said, Li Lianhua, Hanqing, are you okay? Li Lianhua rubbed her neck while coughing. It's okay. He walked towards the body of Qianlei that had fallen to the ground, confirmed that the person had been killed by Hanqing, and then kicked the body. Let you pinch me, ouch. And then almost tripped over the body. Alas, it's a pity that he's dead. Hanqing, I just stabbed him and let him go. Why did you still kill him? Also, why are you here? Hanqing remained calm and composed, sorting through the white gauze that had just been messed up. I don't often use knives to hurt people on weekdays, I'm not proficient. I was too worried about Mr. Li just now, my hand was wrong. Yes. I came to pick up something and ran into Mr. Han. We were about to leave when we heard some commotion. Then we confronted each other. Upon receiving Hanqing's words, Li Lianhua took advantage of the situation to deceive Fang Duobing. Chapter 8. Temporary Residence in Lotus Tower. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Oh, by the way, thank you very much for Han Gongzi and Young Xia Fang's help. Fang Duobing waved his hand. Forget it, as long as you're okay. Seeing the matter resolved, Hanqing did not intend to stay any longer. Young Xia Fang, the matter has been resolved now. I won't be involved in the future and will bid farewell first. After Hanqing left, Li Lianhua no longer stayed. I'm leaving. There's still a fox spirit waiting for me at home. Fang Duobing looked at the two people walking back and forth again with an unhappy expression on his face. Really, I don't know. I thought you two had discussed it in advance. On this side, Li Lianhua caught up with Hanqing ahead. Now that this person knows his identity, it's safer to keep him by his side for a while. I wonder if young Master Han has a place to go now. If you don't mind, you can go downstairs and rest for a few days. The building is not big, but it's still enough for us to stay together. Upon hearing this, Hanqing certainly knew what this person was up to. But he also needs to observe him for a few days, and just now he also heard about some of his own things. And now he's just looking for an inn to stay at. Why not go to his place and kill two birds with one stone? Thank you very much, Master Li, please lead the way. I agreed quite quickly, without any courtesy. But just as he meant, he honestly stepped forward and led the way. Lotus Tower. Li Lianhua is quite impressive when it comes to cooking. Hanqing looked at Li Lianhua sitting at the door picking vegetables with his back to him. He took out a small bottle, took out 2 small pills, and stuffed them into his mouth. He picked up the tea that Lianhua had just poured and poured it in. Organize your thoughts, clench your fists, and rub your thumb against the belly of your index finger. Although Qianhong didn't say much, if he could recognize me, then what he said about Mo Qianhong's enemy should be the Mu family. But where did the argument between Mo Qianhong and the enemies of the Mu family come from, and what exactly did Mo Qianhong participate in the beginning? When you think of the Mu family back then, that tragic scene will emerge. Qianhong's words are correct, and I am truly a coward. My family died tragically in front of me, but I had no choice but to hide on the side. But I still have to live, at least wait for revenge. So you're a fox spirit, so cute. My thoughts were interrupted by an unexpected guest outside. Oh, this is the Lotus Tower. Oh, you're still growing vegetables here. If I remember correctly, let's clear up now. Even if the two are cleared, are there some things that cannot be asked in person? Hanqing stopped listening to their conversation and went upstairs to put his bag and tidy it up. Lianhua arranged him on the second floor. It's already evening, wearing a veil will make it difficult to see clearly, and we will have to eat later. After thinking for a moment, he took out a silver mask with half a mask from his bag and put it on his face before going downstairs. As soon as I went downstairs, I saw Fang Duobing, who was already familiar, sitting down happily with chopsticks. The 2 people at the table also looked at him when they heard a sound. Dressed in white, with half-rolled red silk hair, he walked step by step from upstairs. The face, which was usually covered tightly, revealed some. The most noteworthy thing is the eyes behind the double-dot-sided tool. Those eyes are as warm as jade, like a quiet lake, intoxicating and giving people a sense of tranquility and comfort. But it is like the moon on a winter night, giving people a sense of calm after experiencing countless storms. Upon closer inspection, there is still a very faint light blue in the pupils, and a pair of fox eyes feel gentle when looking at anything. In this eyes, there are 2 completely different feelings, yet they do not appear to conflict. Going down, a portion of the chin and slender neck were exposed, and the fair skin did not appear dull in the not very bright building. Even if you haven't seen the full picture, it still makes people certain that this person's appearance is absolutely extraordinary. Lianhua regained her senses and smiled apologetically. Did you come down? Then let's eat. Fang Duobing, who rubbed his chopsticks against each other, also reacted. You do know each other. I'll just say, I don't know each other. How could we always be together every time we see each other? Hanqing approached and sat down. Hearing Fang Duobing's affirmative tone, he could only helplessly support his forehead and didn't want to explain anything more. Of course, Lianhua saw his helplessness and made Fang Duobing laugh and ask him to shut up and eat. Why can't you even stop your mouth from eating? Okay, then I'm not polite. I'll try it. Pick the dish closest to you and put it in your mouth. Lianhua looked up at him. Why does adding so much pepper to this high-quality beef ruin its taste? Also, look at this Artemisia selingensis, it's clear and light at first glance. Next time, you can add a few slices of cured meat to enhance its freshness with the aroma of cured meat. Is that right? I'm an expert in this area. You can ask me next time. Hanqing, you can also try it. Lianhua also responded and seemed to be waiting for his taste experience. Hanqing. The hand that was about to take the chopsticks paused, neither taking it nor not taking it. It's really strange to be stared at by 2 people eating. Sigh, I casually chose the dish that Fang Duobing had eaten at the beginning and put it in my mouth. At the moment the food touches the tip of the tongue, a strong pepper flavor rushes into the mouth. He is different from ordinary people, not only in his sense of smell, but also in his 5 senses and pain. But his expression was well controlled, nodding expressionlessly. Not bad. Although this statement may not have much credibility, Lianhua still looked at Fang Duobing after receiving the answer. You see, it's okay. Seems to carry a hint of pride. Li Lianhua, don't be so indifferent. At least you are the first two friends I've met while wandering the world. To be honest with you, I escaped from home and got married. I prefer the martial arts world. Li Lianhua casually added tea for herself and Hanqing. Oh, what does this have to do with me? Alas, Baichuan court wants me to solve 3 cases before accepting me as a criminal detective. You see, we finally solved the Lingshan sect case, but they don't allow us to make it public. I see, you are cunning. I have excellent martial arts skills, a clear mind, and some martial arts skills. Why not cooperate with the 3 of us and lead you to uphold justice? Isn't it wonderful? Fang Duobing became more and more excited as he spoke, standing up and counting the benefits with his fingers. A pair of bright big eyes, fantasizing about the future. Hanqing expressed that he couldn't hear this and asked the old fox to deal with the child, which had nothing to do with him. Hey! Stop it, are you still coming to my Lotus Tower to grab a meal and take us on a chivalrous and righteous journey? Besides, we're not interested in chivalrous and righteous journey. The turmoil in the martial arts world is fierce, and the lotus flowers in the building are clear. I'm just here to play in the mountains and rivers, and what you're saying doesn't suit me. Fang Duobing was not discouraged even after being hit, only thinking that they were not accustomed to things in the martial arts world. I planned to wait for a while before persuading them. But Hanqing knew the true identity of Li Lianhua. If even people like Li Xiangyi are not suitable for the martial arts world, then the threshold for the martial arts world is quite high. When it comes to Li Xiangyi, almost everyone knows about him, whether in the Mu family or in the past few years, he has heard more or less about him. It can only be said that fate is ridiculous and equally tragic. There is no absolute in everything, even if there is one, it is still false. You never know what will happen next, maybe everything will change tomorrow. Living the present well, cherishing the present is the most important thing, otherwise, in the end, there may be nothing left. Chapter 9. Master, Poisonous Hair. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After chatting with Xinlei, they did not mention the conversation at that time. Everyone knows that the other party has their own secrets, and they are just pretending to be confused while trying to understand. After eating, the two were pulled out to drink by a child surnamed Fang. As the saying goes, once you bring wine, you cannot waste it. Li Lianhua is not much worse than Fang Duo's illness, let alone Hanqing, who is a few years younger than Li Lianhua. But they both tacitly treat Fang Duobing as a child. He is really too pure and innocent. 3 people sat by the fire, Li Lianhua and Fang Duobing drinking alcohol. Due to health reasons, Hanqing declined to drink. Now Fang Duobing is clearly drunk, holding on to Li Lianhua's sleeve and not letting go, acting coquettishly while shaking and muttering. Why don't you consider it? If I can't get into Baichuan Academy, how can I justify my master? Let go of your hand. Shit. Fang Duo lifted his glass into the air in a daze. Master, I will definitely support the Sigmund Baichuan Academy that you established with your own hands. Hanqing looked at Fang Duobing who was drunk and looked at Li Lianhua, who was also somewhat surprised. Wait, who did you say your master was? Fang Duobing looked proud and said, Sword God Li Xiangyi. He fell backwards in a daze. Hanqing and Li Lianhua quickly supported him on both sides. The stable Fang Duobing waved his hand. It's okay. I didn't know that Li Xiangyi had even taken you as an apprentice. No one knows about this. Li Lianhua shook the wine jug in her hand and said, Yes, I guess he himself doesn't know either. Don't believe it. To be honest with you. The child had no ulterior motives at all. He stood up and revealed his past to the 2 sitting people, and soon made it clear where his master came from. After speaking about the past, he sat back between Hanqing and Li Lianhua with a look of grievance, expressing his dissatisfaction. It was for his words that I came over no matter how difficult it was. Now, I can finally stand up and grip the sword in my hand, but he has disappeared. The night in the wilderness is not noisy, only a gentle breeze and occasional rustling from the tree tops in the forest. Fang Duobing looked at the wine pot and reminisced about the past, while Li Lianhua looked at Fang Duobing and reminisced about the past. As Hanqing watched Fang Duobing's cheeks turn red after drinking, he couldn't help but think of his younger brother, Feng Er. If Feng Er had not died, he would only be at the age of 18 now, in the prime of his life, almost as sick as Fang Duo. Will it also be like Fang Duobing, full of passion and confidence? The three of them remained silent, each holding their own thoughts. Looking at the increasingly gloomy atmosphere, Li Lianhua lifted the wine jug. Come on, drink. Fang Duobing also came out of his memories and collided with Li Lianhua in the wine pot. Fang Duobing, who was already drunk, fell down shortly after. Are you really going to throw your disciple here? I still have something to do, it's not good to take him with me. It's better not to involve him too much. Without expressing any opinion, Hanqing took out a small porcelain bottle and poured the powder inside onto Fang Duobing's side. This is insect-proof and mosquito-proof. It's in the wilderness and mountains. If you sprinkle some, you'll end up suffering less. Li Lianhua noticed that even ants were eager to run away from the nearby tree. She glanced at the small porcelain vase and raised an eyebrow while holding her arm. Master Han is actually kind to him. Looking at Hanqing, who looked at Fang Duobing with a hint of kindness in his eyes for some unknown reason, he was even more attentive than his so-called master. Han collected the porcelain vase and conducted a brief inspection of the diseased area around it. After all, he's still a child, so taking care of him is not a big deal. How old are you, taking care of others? Let's go. Hanqing didn't say anything more and followed them back to the Lotus Tower. After Li Lianhua drove the carriage to another wilderness, both of them rested separately. Pada. Not long after dawn, the sound of cups falling to the ground came from inside the building. Hanqing heard a sound and went downstairs. Seeing Li Lianhua sitting at the table with a painful expression on her face, her previously pale red lips turned pale, and a cold sweat broke out on her forehead. She supported her head on the table with one hand, feeling very weak. Master Li. Quickly walking, holding Li Lianhua's hand to pulse. Li Lianhua was about to retract but was held down by Hanqing. Now, his strength cannot match that of Hanqing. Don't move. When two hands touch each other, both have some faint cocoons, but it does not affect the appearance. Smooth as fine porcelain, slender and smooth, as if carefully carved. In this comparison, it was hard to tell who was fairer for a moment. The longer Hanqing felt his pulse, the tighter his eyebrows furrowed. Even with a mask on, he could guess the expression from the slightly narrowed fox's eyes. The poison of green tea is indeed powerful. He had previously studied the toxicity of green tea, but there was no experimental body, and the toxicity of green tea was also difficult to detect. His understanding was not very penetrating, and he only had a partial understanding. Wrap around Li Lianhua's back, stroke his hand on his back, and deliver soft internal energy. Due to his own physical condition, the internal strength he has developed is also gentle, which is very useful for healing and recovery, such as his developed spring return overflow. After waiting for a while, seeing that Li Lianhua's face was gradually improving, Hanqing withdrew his hand. The first delivery should not be rushed. Pass a bottle of pills to Li Lianhua. Eating one can help suppress green tea. Li Lianhua didn't doubt it and took out one and stuffed it into her mouth. If this person wanted to harm him, he would have killed him just now while he was sick. Thank you very much. Push the porcelain vase towards Hanqing. This powerful medicine can even suppress by cha a bit. It's better not to take it out easily in the future. Hanqing secretly observed the expression of Li Lianhua. You keep it, there are only a few left, one per day can help you for a while. Otherwise, I'm afraid if I only stay in this building for a day, the owner of the building will have an accident. Of course, it was also a test just now. If Li Lianhua had just shown a greedy glance at the pill or was unwilling to return it, he would not have given it to him, or even trusted him a penny more. Obviously, Li Lianhua has passed the level. Li Lianhua looked at the porcelain vase in her hand with a self-deprecating smile. The day of the attack was brought forward again. Look at the wine gourd on the table. It seems we need to hurry up, master. I will definitely find my senior brother's body, otherwise I wouldn't have the face to see you. After thinking for a moment, Hanqing also sat down at the table. Li Gongzi's purpose is to find your senior brother's body, and I am also looking for someone. Now it seems that our clues are all related to the Jin-Yuan alliance. Since there is no conflict of interests, why not cooperate? Master Han seems somewhat certain that I will cooperate with you. Why? You don't have much time left, and I don't necessarily have much more time than you. Li Lianhua looked at Hanqing for a moment and took out a trigger from her sleeve. This is on Xian Lei's body, with the dark pattern of the Golden Mandarin Alliance on it. Hanqing understood that this meant agreeing to cooperate and took the trigger to take a look. Warm jade. That's right, this warm rain is also rare. Kunlun Jade City. The two of them thought at the same time and looked up together to speak out. Coincidentally, we have a good eye contact. Feeling a bit awkward, I wanted to smile to relieve it, and then tacitly became a mutual smile. Okay, it's even more awkward. Chapter 10. Injury. You are listening at novelfull.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text.